Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. This is our Path of the Damned Herald run, episode 140, and we are at the end of the game. We've got to go fight the Principe because... Just cuz. Oh, they just have to make things difficult.
So now it comes to this, amico.
Fuck you, Ferrante. I already killed you once. Tugging on the frilled cuffs of his sleeves, Captain Ferrante strolls confidently forward. With a flick of his hand, he signals to the posse of well-armed pirates behind him.
You think to steal my golden dream, but I will not allow it to happen.
He embellishes an aristocratic bow as he draws arms against you.
My gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Rivan's ship to reach Ukaiso in the end.
Rawatai is commandeering this land. Retreat or die.
In that, you are mistaken, amico. Not for any reason would I leave the lost city of gold unplundered. If you do not believe that, you have never met a true pirate. The lost city of gold will be the foundation of the future of the Principe.
You've already lost the battle, dude.
And
Get out of here.
You will die now for the greater good. Corres, casita. Give my regards to the gods.
He tips his hat in farewell, a surprisingly genteel gesture considering his plans to murder you. Yeah, okay.
Getting the water.
Ain't on my thing, savvy?
Bye, Ferrante.
Never you mind.
You asshole. Get this wizard down here.
I'll land them. That was about as useful as a bump on a pickle.
I'll be seeing you. Okay.
Hey.
Mother.
Can't make a dent.
Ain't on my thing, savvy?
I've got this, Captain. That was about as useful as a
over here.
bump.
Oh, Ferrante's not dead? Oh, guess he disappeared and fucking popped back up or something. Alright.
Damn, ain't on my thing, savvy?
I'm having some trouble moving through this.
Now he's dead.
Stay with us.
You see that,
Ain't on my
Ishi?
thing, savvy?
We had some good times.
That hurt. Seems fair. Ishi. Can't get a
Please and thank you.
clean hand.
Hey. We had some good times.
God darn it!
Back on your feet, Sheila.
Jeez.
Stand together.
Like, hot damn.
Mo. Not happening.
Like flogging a figure. Futile.
You see that, Ishi?
I would really prefer you not spend your time while you're dying.
It's no use.
No can do.
Me tomb.
That's embarrassing.
Damn.
That dog won't hunt.
That was a tough ass fight.
Speak freely.
I say tough ass fight. Took me one fucking go, but still. Like,
Happily.
Bronte's breastplate. We've seen that before.
Not a problem, Captain.
All right, let's rest. And I think we've got one more fight before us.
Hey, Captain. I've got something on my mind. Could use a second opinion is all.
Mutiny? Is it mutiny?
No, I mean, not yet. I mean, not ever.
Bewildered, Maya shakes her head and starts again.
You probably noticed that Shodi and I have been getting awfully cozy.
Uh-oh. Maya plants her hands on her hip and raises a brow.
Well, she made a confession to me. Mixture of feelings and tensions and other stuff.
Go on.
Shodi's a lot like her lantern. You can see straight through, but she's got a flame inside that never goes out. I like that about her.
Continue.
I want to see what my firefly can do, and I know she's keen on showing me.
Okay. Maya glances away with a hint of apprehension.
But it's been years since I was landlocked with someone. I'm worried about cracking those glass windows of hers. I don't want to risk her flame going out.
See, this feels like a weird scenario, because Maya and I are in a relationship, right? Wait, okay, that's perfectly fine. I have zero issue with Maya and I being in a relationship and Maya and Shodi being in a relationship from the game standpoint, right? Like, whatever, I don't care. But the game seems to not address the two things. Basically, it's like, yeah, but no, it acts. Why does everyone come to you about relationship decisions? Just because that's the nature of the game, right? But like, it's just, it feels weird, right? Like, if I wasn't in a relationship with Maya, then Maya should have this conversation just like this, right? But if I am in a relationship with Maya, then Maya should slightly deviate this conversation and be like, hey, lover, you know, like, what's up? Since she's pursuing you, why not let her set the pace of things?
Hand over the reins, so to speak? That's a fair
Maya's
and
Polly? Yeah,
refreshing
absolutely. 100% fine. It just feels weird that the game doesn't acknowledge that we're in a relationship. You know?
I don't want to sound like I'm not interested. Far from it. It's just that these things usually happen as a matter of necessity. When you're on a month-long voyage and the need takes over, you learn to think of privacy, options, and planning as luxuries.
Sure. You describe with Shodi sounds different.
That's what has me worried. It's a new kind of vulnerable. I guess life is just tossing yourself in someone's direction and hoping they catch you on the first try.
Sighing, Maya gestures off into the distance.
Appreciate you taking the time to hear me out, Captain.
Let's be off.
What's
Very,
under that?
very kind of like weird, like, timing on that particular one, right? It's godlike. Nice. Nice. You should definitely see yourself out on that one. All right, let's go fight a guardian.
You descend into the ancient winding
Or
streets
not.
of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms.
Aren't those supposed to be like the corpses of the gods' physical forms?
An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument.
We know where one of the
suspended by
missing ones
invisible
went.
energy emanating
Thanks
from
to
a well of
fucking
light beneath it.
Wiles.
Great brass
shit.
rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
The soul of Widewind separates out from the masses trailing in your wake, looks up at Aethys and clears his throat.
Been a while, old friend. Widewind, I did not think to see you here. But few things go as expected when the Watcher is involved.
This is really interesting that the DLC is actually impacting the end of the game now.
We were a good team. Once. But this isn't what we fought for. Ain't you just burning the harvest because you planted the wrong seeds? An astute observation, old friend. Consider instead that I am giving the soil back to those who till it. Spring must always follow winter. As long as there are people committed to finding the other side of change, The agony will not last. But thank you for challenging me as you did in fairer times. I haven't forgotten the lesson we strove to impart. You're welcome, I suppose.
Oddwin clears his throat and backs away to offer you space. Aethys shifts his attention back to you.
This isn't right. You can't put this burden on us. You can't make the gods' problems our responsibility to fix. How can you have faith that what you're doing is good? You know how many people are going to suffer because of this. No matter how you spin this, you can't set it straight.
He's ending the cycle of feeding the gods' souls, basically.
Adair, I wish I could explain it to you. It breaks my heart that I cannot. But no matter how much you curse me, do not despair. The souls of this world will need people like you. Lights burning brightly in the darkness to come.
Gone, please. I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living? To improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers. Women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
I ain't never chatted up a god before. Feel like I should be asking something profound and philosophical.
Right?
And yet, thing I be wanting to know, what be stopping the other gods from coming down and just setting this shit back straight? And then you breaking it again? This be our new tides then, all up and down, over and over, till the sea drowns us all?
A wise question, Seraphim. Have no doubt, some of the gods are already trying to figure out a way to fix this on their own. It is not beyond their capabilities. After all, we made these machines with the Huana many years ago. But it is not something they can do easily. Not without mortal assistance. It will be for mortals to decide if they should receive it.
The Navy thinks very highly of this place. Maybe I lack their imagination.
Aya folds her arms and squints up at Aethys.
What do you think, big guy? Are all the hopes and dreams of Rauatai here on Ukaizo? Is this city really the cornerstone of our future?
Depends on you. She shrugs as if it doesn't matter either way, but her eyes reflect a distant hope.
Ukaizo's time has passed, Maya. It remains only as a symbol. But symbols can hold great power. If you wonder about the future of Rauatai, know that if there is any greatness in your people, it existed before you set foot in this ancient place. Ukaizo will not make Rauatai any greater or lesser than it already is. Only its people possess that power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
Rimagon. I've come to fight you. Can you actually fight Aethys? I have no idea if you can. Can you fight Aethys? Pillars of Eternity. Can you fight Aethys? That's enough. You cannot? You tried fighting Aethys? Really? I have not tried fighting Aethys. I'm gonna say this one, right? Like, mortals are going to need a head start on things to prevent the gods from reestablishing control. Need to inspire them.
Mortals are already inspired. It
Does
is
a
what has
scripted game
pushed
over?
them on for
Ah.
hundreds of generations to reach this point in time.
Gotcha.
Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Ingwithans ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals?
Because I believe in Kith. I believe in our potential to do good in this world.
As do I. From where should mortals draw their inspiration?
Oof, that is so hard. It's not a black or white option. It's both, right? They should look to the future and they should look to the past. Like, it's so... Should they look to the past or the future? Only one. No, both. You dim fucking shitheads. But if there's going to be a scenario for this particular, then they should be looking to the future. Not in the past of what the Ingwithans did and caused and destroyed.
Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes.
You're not taking my eyes. I need them. So when's the final boss? Why are you playing coy? You know this. You know this whole scenario. Get out of here. And I agree with you. Go on.
You followed me all this way, dodging an armada.
For those of you who are not aware, there's
wall of storms.
not really a final boss, and it's kind of lackluster.
Voyaging across uncharted seas, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears. All the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree. By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation?
I don't like any of these options. Rautines know how to respond to a threat. The future will need their cunning.
I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me.
Whatever.
But for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal. Some have forgotten themselves, giving into fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone.
Thanks for the lesson. What happens next?
I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it.
No sooner have Aethys' words entered your mind than you hear one final dissonant ring of the chime within you. Silence. The knot that formed when the pallid night first addressed you in the beyond is now gone.
You are free now. as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys' body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted. The machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys' arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes as Aethys' shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Aethys' voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher, who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. On your recommendation, Aethys disperses his essence, and that of the thousands of souls within him, to centers of knowledge and learning around the world. Animancers, engineers, wizards, and scholars of all stripes make astounding breakthroughs in understanding and harnessing the phenomena that govern Aora. While some of these developments prove beneficial to Kith, others are decidedly less so.
Of course.
But such is the price of innovation. What remains to be seen is how, indeed whether, they will restore the cycle Aethys has broken. As Rauatai's engineers had predicted, turning off the machine at Andra's spire calms not only the storms of Andra's mortar, but also those in Rauatai. For the first time, citizens of the mainland admire the beauty of sea and sky, without wondering when they will unleash destruction. The changes to Rauatai, however, extend far beyond the weather. Rauataians had long forged their identities around enduring hardship and laboring together. But over time, as their cities and crops flourish under sunny skies, they find they need one another less. Inevitably, some lament this softer, easier life. Others point to national self-reliance, to burgeoning industry, to families that did not have to send their kin abroad, as evidence that the new ways are vastly preferable to the old. Besides, Rauataians everywhere still share a purpose more urgent than any the world had ever known. reforging the cycle of reincarnation. The changes to Deadfire are just as significant. The Ranganui declares the archipelago an extension of his empire, and his administrators waste no time in making that true in deed, as well as in word. Rauatayan gunships patrol Deadfire, hunting down pirates and smugglers, including the remaining Principe. After their defeat at Andra's Mortar, the pirate nation stands no chance against the organized might of Rauatai. As Rauatayan farmers, merchants, and laborers move to the archipelago, there is little room and less patience for the Valian Trading Company. The Ranganui soon forces the Valian Trading Company to surrender its holdings in Deadfire, straining relations with the republics. Rauatai knits its new archipelago together with all the tools of government and infrastructure. New ports spring up across Deadfire, guarded with sturdy Rauatayan bronze and run with dispassionate Rauatayan efficiency. Most Huana remain, even as their homeland changes around them. Their huts and lodges are cleared to make way for towns of stone and brick. The walls that are built to protect them also cut them off from the freedom of the open sea.
Yep.
Those Huana who trade caste and prize share for Rauatayan unity and striving prosper. Others mourn the passing of their queen and see the end of their way of life as a precursor of the doom of Aora.
Of course.
The mysterious deaths of Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa provoke hostilities between the Valian settlers and the Huawan residents. What starts with angry words escalates to retaliatory killings as each side blames the other. By the time anyone bothers to question the strange coincidences surrounding their deaths, including reports of a cloaked Omawi woman seen in both the port and the village, both sides have gone too far to turn back. The chaos makes it easy for a small Rauatayan contingent to swoop in and establish control over the island. Within days, they eject the remaining Valians and pacify the Huana. Port Mage becomes a valuable outpost, and one that allows Rauatai easy control over the southern end of Deadfire. It is, by all accounts, a smooth and exceedingly well-run operation. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. While Hazanui Karu directs her fleet from Ukaizo, Atsura stays behind to manage Nekataka. Under his oversight, sturdy walls and artillery batteries rise to protect the city. Ships bearing settlers from Rauatai and staple goods from the archipelago churn the waters of Queensbirth. And despite the vacancies at Kahanga Palace, Atsura retains his simple quarters in the Brass Citadel. The pirates continue smuggling food into the gullet, and the Raparu embrace their benefactors, aiding and concealing their smuggling operations.
Shit.
Over time, the gullet becomes a hotbed of piracy, with Skiarilifus's essence still empowering the Watershapers Guild. The practice of water shaping grows and flourishes in Nekataka, and its practitioners rise in prestige. They install conveyors in the falls that run through the city and craft sculptures for every street and plaza. Thus, the Watershapers Guild becomes a power in its own right in the city of Nekataka. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars.
Oh.
Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him. But that changes as word of Aethys' deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The faith of the children of the Dawnstars fades, but their commitment to the people of Deadfire does not. They continue feeding, healing, and helping the neediest, just as they have for decades.
Nice.
It is no longer a holy mission, but it is a mission all the same.
That's good.
Ruanu, the chieftain of the Huana at Tikawara, dies mysteriously. The tribe finds his body washed up on the same beach where Anaharu challenged him to the trial of waves. Some blame Anaharu's vengeful spirit. Others see it as Ngati's final judgment. And a few speak of a strange man seen lingering in the village. Atsura sends a ship with food, aid, and a small garrison of soldiers to the unfortunate village. The leaderless tribe is all too happy to accept Rauatai's
That fucking
generosity.
assassination shit,
They
man.
return the favor by reaching out to other far-flung tribes on behalf of their new benefactors. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between
Oh, shit.
Aora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Under Halfjorn's guidance, the Harbingers of Dusk resettle within Remergon's temple, vowing to forever protect it from the defiling touch of outsiders. Over time, the group becomes increasingly reclusive and fanatical,
Yeah,
attacking any who dare approach their holy site.
unsurprised.
In besting the Beast of Winter, you earned the Death God's mercy rather than his enmity. The deity remains characteristically unforthcoming about his decision, and you're left to wonder whether in doing battle with him in the White Void, you somehow furthered his apocalyptic ambitions.
How?
Once repaired, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari again pulses with the flow of soul essence between the here and the beyond. The feral life on the
Sure.
island flourishes. The jungles and veld growing ever wilder and resistant to settlement and exploration alike.
Yeah, but we then smashed the wheel,
The
so...
faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Gallowayne's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel.
But there isn't one.
Stymied by Aethys' actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Released from their bondage to the sightless eye, the Vithrak of the Halls Obscured abandon the Black Isle and resettle in the deepest and darkest recesses of the ruins beneath Nekataka. Sisak and his colony remain secretive and isolated, however,
Interesting.
rarely interacting with those kith crawling about in the sunlight above. Encouraged by her arcane successes,
Hey, Bakarna!
Bakarna returns to her observatory
Yeah.
to continue her studies of the celestial spheres. In time, her colleagues in the Circle of Archmagi come to accept her among their number.
Nice. Very nice.
She takes on apprentices, and they trumpet her praises as both a brilliant innovator and nurturing pedagogue.
That was one of the coolest moments in all of the DLCs, by the way, when we were talking about, like, oh, it'd be really cool if she made a spell and taught you the spell. Like, that was actually, like, that all unfolded almost perfectly. That was really cool.
Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Aora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, the body collapses upon itself, and the Black Isles finally implode. Seeking a living receptacle for the essence contained within the tomes you unearthed in the Halls
Lingrath.
Obscured, Langrath devotes herself to study of the Godseed. She occasionally contacts you, usually
Nice.
on Dragonback, to solicit your expertise and advice. Her progress with the ancient Anguithan device remains steady, if excruciatingly slow. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. Adair returns to Hisango, where he reunites with Byrne, the son of his former lover, Alava. The boy takes heart in Adair's account that Aethys and all the other gods were false, petty, and unworthy of the love of Kith. realizing how close he came to dying for this cause, Byrne finds renewed purpose in working alongside his uncle to repair the many scars left upon Deadfire by the gods. Under Adair's guidance, Byrne grows into the kind of irreverent, stubborn hothead that would have made his mother proud, and Adair visits her gravesite, often to tell her so. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter.
Hold up.
Early in your travels,
I thought
Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting.
I thought Shodi and
He
Maya
often
were a
grimaces
thing there at the
when
end.
she sidles up to him,
Maybe I didn't let
and he
that
takes
bake for
endless
long enough.
pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind.
Ah,
And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship.
cool, but tell me more about what Shodi does.
Seemingly lit
There we go.
with an inner glow, Shodi takes to a new life of mission work with gusto. She still is committed to shepherding souls forgone, but having realigned her goals with that of her fellow Dawn Stars, she now endeavors to help the
Nice.
living as much as the dead. As you travel the Deadfire, you find her sleeping better and laughing more often. When the time comes for her to return to her temple in Neketaka, it's with a clear wistfulness and much lip-biting on her part. She leaves you with her sickle and a hastily scrawled note. It reads, "A keepsake from a path once walked. Remember me, Watcher, for I will forever dream of you."
Nice.
Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the god's stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. You let Romaro go, and the former pirate ostensibly set sail for the trade lanes of the Eastern Reach, the Edier Empire, Old Valia, and the Republics. For the remainder of your time together, Seraphin seems, if not exactly happy, at least contented with the outcome of your confrontation with his former mentor at Sayuka. And yet, when the two of you part, Seraphin seems emboldened, invigorated by a new sense of purpose. He buys you a drink, toasts to the Deadfire, says, "Let's see if we can make something worth a shit out of what's left of these Principe swabs,"
Probably not.
and sets sail the next morning. In the years to follow, rumors occasionally reach you of the Blue Orland pirate of the Deadfire, a privateer captain as keen to free slaves.
Yeah, it's
fight
relatively
foreign
long, but it's kind of
influence as he
quintessential
is to
for this
plunder
type
and
of game,
pillage.
right? Pathfinder, Kingmaker did a very similar scenario. The Baldur's Gate series all does this, etc. This is kind of like, this is how the endings work.
After reporting back to her superiors for the Watcher's actions against the Valiant
Look off,
trading
Pallegina.
company, Pallegina is rewarded with reassignment home to the Valian Republics. She spends the next several years as the head of the household guard for the Duke of Ancense. In this role, she is often lauded for her courage and loyalty. Even with all of the praise, there are still times when she cannot help but feel she could have had more influence on what transpired in the Deadfire.
Yeah, by deciding to not stick with the crappy-ass Valian trading company.
Pallegina renews her relationship with Giacomo,
Good.
corresponding with him regularly, and even meeting with the old Animancer once or twice a year. Though she does not understand the intricate details of his research, she reads his letters and responds with great enthusiasm. Her brothers, and even the dukes themselves, note that Pallegina's demeanor is always warmer on the days when she receives a letter. Rumors even spread that some of the brothers have seen her smile. Time
Oh,
away
no.
from the Navy gives Maya Rua some perspective on how Rauatai conducted the Deadfire occupation. No sooner does she return to active duty than she voices her frustrations over some of the more underhanded tactics she witnessed and carried out in the name of the homeland. Her voice carries all the way to the Ranganui, who reminds his admirals that battles are won by superior tactics, but war is a battle of precedent.
Nice.
And winning is not always a victory.
Good.
The people listen.
Good job, Ranganui.
Though Maya's covert assignment in the Deadfire is considered a success, few claim knowledge of it or openly congratulate her. She receives no praise beyond knowing glances or the occasional raised tankard from her countrymen. She never responds. Maya's part in the conquest of Ukaizo brings fame and fortune to the Rua family. Officers salute her in passing, and a row of medals decorate the breast of her uniform. Her parents and siblings are paraded between the great houses of Rauatai for nightly dinners and celebrations. She has a hero's welcome in her future.
I'm sure what's-his-face really enjoys that.
Though she has a lot on her mind, she still makes time to visit. Even if it's just to share a few pleasant words
Good.
and a subtle wink. You don't often travel together, but it's clear that what you built in your time as shipmates is alive and well. Whenever you come across Maya,
Oh,
Shodi is
hey,
never
it did
far off.
nice.
The two of them spend every available hour sharing stories over drinks, dangling their feet over docks, or exploring strange temples by the light of Shodi's lantern. They're good for each other, and they both seem to know it.
Again, it seems that, so there's definitely there's obviously a relationship between me and Maya, and there's a relationship between Maya and Shodi, but the game just kind of is like, we're not gonna talk about that.
She looks forward to seeing her brother again.
Nice. There we go.
So does Ashiza.
Hell yeah.
Takehu distances himself from the problems of the
This is
Deadfire,
heartbreaking.
giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. And Gati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other,
Yeah,
paving
basically.
a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Nekataka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. Your farewell is short and cordial. Nothing further needs to be said, and you wish each other well.
I hate that. That's
Takehu does not look
heartbreaking.
back.
I love Takehu,
The
and
sea
I
feels
hate
restless in his
that
absence.
the Royal Deadfire Company's ending is kill the queen and make Takehu very, very sad.
Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed.
Right?
Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo,
Where's my
Kith
submarine?
turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Berath, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home.
Yeah,
You hope for calm weather.
fuck that. Why would I go home? Cadnua is basically obliterated. Screw that. Just stick it around in the Deadfire. You've got fame and fortune here. Shh. I need a checkbox button. This is like, screw Cadnua. Check. We did it. So very, it's got a very anticlimactic ending, in my opinion. Kind of a downside for me as far as Pillars of Eternity 2 goes. I think Pillars of Eternity 2 is a very good game. I think at its core, it's got a lot going for it. It's got a strong storyline that kind of like breaks up at the end. It's got really interesting characters. I think my thing, it's got great gameplay. Like, I love the gameplay. I just think a couple of things hold Pillars of Eternity 2 back from being a truly, like, a masterpiece, right? And that is that I think it tried too hard to be shades of gray or nitty gritty or there are no heroes, you know, everyone's their own opinion, right? So sure, but what you've done in that is I don't like the Huana, I don't like the Principe, I don't like the Valians, I don't like the Royal Deadfire Company. Like, all of them do these shitty things. There's not, and I get it, there's like, oh, heroes, good versus evil isn't a real thing, right? Like, yeah, but it's a video game, and it feels better when you can go, oh, I want to pick this side because they're really good. Like the Dawn Stars just helping people. Yeah, that feels good, right? That feels good. I like that, you know? But Royal Deadfire Company getting to where they are because they're employing assassins? Nah, hard pass, right? like it just feels bad. So one is the factions feel bad. Two, there's a strong, if you're just following the storyline, right? There's a compelling kind of like build up from the beginning into the middle of the story, and then when you get from the middle to the end of the story, kind of like it starts to fall apart. Even if you're not spending all your time side questing, etc., etc., if you're just going through the story, it starts to, like, you have to do the faction quests, and it starts to just turn into this situation where it's like, okay, Aethys is smashing the wheel, so now there's no more cycle of rebirth, and now your soul just goes to the beyond, and that's that, which in theory means that maybe children aren't born in the future, or what, who the fuck knows, right? Like, it's very like, well, I don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna happen. Like, but it makes it out to be just, I don't know. It doesn't come together as tight. It tries to be kind of like amorphous and mysterious, and the decisions are you have to brave the future, and sure, but that leads to a relatively, like, conceptually, that leads to a ambiguous and unfulfilling ending, right? You know, rather than some climactic scenario to that, it's tropey, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason why the climactic fight against a big bad evil guy to save the world is a thing, and that's because it feels good, right? It feels good to have that build up, climax, win, save, or achieve, or whatever, right? You know? Whereas this is, what are you doing there, God? Okay, we're figuring this out. There's, okay, you're, okay, no more reincarnation? Okay, we just go there and talk to you. Cool. You know, it's very, anticlimactic. And those are the two really big problems with the game that keep the game from being a masterpiece. There are other things that the game has a problem with. I have complaints with the scripting in the game. I have complaints with kind of like I love the battle system, right? I love the combat, generally speaking, but I find a lot of the, I wish all the legendary items and everything like that, I wish there were twice as many of them, basically, and had more variable effects. I feel that like 90% of them are kind of boring, and then there's just a couple that are really, really, really good and really cool, and then others, they're just kind of like whatever, right? So scripting could be better, could have more and more varied, more interesting magic items, right? Etc. But generally speaking, like, I really like the side quests in the game. This is one of those games where side quests are cool and generally in-depth. Some of them anyway, some of them aren't. But it's not like a lot of games where side quests are just filler, just there to get you more experience or more items or what have you. The side quests make this game, honestly. Fuck. I just really wish the factions weren't garbage. Like, I just really wish the factions weren't garbage. Oh my goodness. Alright, we're gonna speed up. Oh shit. 32 times speed. I really had a fun time with the DLCs in general, though. I think the Seeker Slayer Survivor one was kind of meh. At the end, I'd probably only give it like a 6 or so. Must go faster. But the Beast of Winter was pretty good. I'd probably give that like a 7 or an 8. And Forgotten Sanctum I thought was really quite good. I'd give that like a 9. You know, it was very fun. Had a good time. Okay, so here's the thing. This is going to be the end of this video. There's probably going to be one more video of this because we have one achievement left to get for this game. And we're going to get it, by God. But we're not going to do that tonight. So, if you're watching on Twitch, this is going to be the end of the stream, and this is going to be the end of the YouTube video. Next video is going to be basically us starting up a new game, and probably playing on the easiest difficulty, just cruising through everything, real quick, snappy, running through, picking up a dare, and basically following a walkthrough to trigger a bunch of minuses with a dare until we maximize negative relations with a dare, which apparently is the least obtained achievement in the entire game, right? Apparently everything else, all the hard fights, all the, you know, faction quests, all the little secrets and everything like that, those get accomplished. Yeah, no one wants to be a dick, right? No one wants to intentionally go in and just start losing their companions. So, yeah, that'll be the next video, and we'll see how it goes. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.